It might come as a surprise to you, but there are some things that we can't control that are going to directly impact your property value. Let's keep it real and take a look at those now. My name is Andrew Finney and my passion is helping you make sense of real estate. If you need help finding a top agent near you, or if you simply want to drop me a line to say hello, my contact info is below. If you're new here, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel now and like this video. Thank you. Alright my friend, let's take a closer look at these 7 things that make sure this doesn't happen to you. The first things are distressed property sales near your home. Consider that neighbor that might be like 250 feet or 500 feet away from your home, and if they got foreclosed on or going through the process of a short sale, that's something that unfortunately you and I have no control over, but yet unfortunately it is going to impact your property value. In fact, according to a study from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or simply MIT, in 2010, they found that if you have a short sale, a foreclosure, or any kind of distressed property sale near your house, you can reasonably expect to lose about 1% of your property's value. Now that might not sound like much, but let's put it in context. If your home is worth about $500,000 in fair market value and you lose 1% because of one sale, that's $5,000 that you lost through no fault of your own. So it's something that you gotta realize that could be going on, and depending on the market conditions, whether it's like a seller's market, a buyer's market, or a stabilized market, will ultimately determine how many of these type of sales you might see in and around your area. So this is one thing to be cognizant of, and that link to that study is in the show more description below if it's something that you want to take a look at. The second thing that could impact your property value are sexual predators. Now this is very unfortunate because we can't control who becomes our neighbor or who moves in and around our area. What we can do is do our research whenever it comes time to buy a home again. And if you're watching this video just out of simple curiosity and you haven't bought yet, then let's talk about trying to identify the right area for you. I've made several other videos about that. Please check them out. Now, when it comes to selling a home, it's something that a savvy home buyer and a savvy buyer agent might be providing to the buyers that they're representing is a resource that they can look up to see how many sexual offenders are around them to help them make a well-informed decision. If you're wondering right now how many sexual predators are around you, please visit the National Sex Offender Public website at www.nsopw.gov. The third thing that could impact your property values, if you're that person that loves renovating your property, you could be over improving too much for your area. It's important to recognize that when we do home renovations, there's a lot of different things that we can do to help boost the value of the home, from maybe putting on a new roof, putting in some new wood floors or tile floors. There's obviously so many different things that we can do to a property to increase the value, but we have to keep our emotions in check and in reality with the market, unless we're planning on keeping that home for possibly forever. But since none of us have that crystal ball to let us know where we're gonna be 10, 15, 20, 100 years from now, let's make sure that we plan this out right and keep your improvements in line with what's going on around you. Otherwise, it might have been one of those things that you did a lot of improvements to a property and we really hope that you enjoy it because you might not necessarily get the value back from it. In fact, Zillow suggests that if you have a lot of renovations in your home, to not price your home beyond 10% from the highest related comparable property that's sold in and around your community and your area, so that you can try to keep your price in line with what the comparable statistics are sharing with you. Now that being said, if we're backing up into our renovation thought process, what should we be looking at before we make renovation 1? Ideally, we're already taking a look at where the current market is at the time that you're making that renovation and factoring out maybe 10% above and beyond the comparables at that time, depending on the home renovation that you're planning. Gaining insight into this before doing the project can help insulate the value of your home, or at least ways the value of your pocketbook, before you think about selling your property. The fourth thing that could hit your property value is the location. Now, I know it sounds a bit cliche, and it might be a bit of a cliche in reality. Here's the thing, we should always know what the city planners are forecasting in and around the area that we're planning on buying the house. What happens if they decide they're gonna build a power plant across the street? Or what happens if they decide they're gonna put in an industrial complex on the other side of your community? An interesting observation to make is in a joint study conducted by Princeton and the University of California at Berkeley. They show if a power plant goes in around a half-mile radius of your home, you can expect to lose as much as 11% of your property value. And Richard Reddy over at the Montana State University shares with us that if you're thinking about moving into an area that has a high volume, a high traffic landfill area, be prepared to lose as much as 13.5% of your property value. That link to Richard Reddy's study from Montana State University is in the show more description below if you'd like to check it out. The fifth thing that could impact your property value are high traffic areas. Now, it's important to think about this logically and to think this out a little bit, because some people, when I meet with them, they're like, hey Andrew, you know what, I don't care if I'm close to a street or if I'm even that close to a freeway. I just want a really nice home that I can afford. So here's what I asked them is, have you really considered how this might impact your future resale value? And they're like, well, Andrew, you know, I just want to buy the home before we start talking about selling. I said, look, I'm with you. I'm hoping that you can stay in your home for as many years as you see fit and that you're extremely happy there. So it's really up to you how you want to make this call. At the same time, it's my job to let you know that this could impact you in the future. So here's the deal. Whenever we're talking about location, if your home is next to a high traffic area, you could reasonably expect to get less for your home than another home that could be in the exact same neighborhood as you that might be just a little bit removed from the freeway or the high traffic area. This is a very common reality and probably something that you have seen many times looking at home search sites on your own when you're wondering, hey, that's the exact same house. Why is it $20,000 less whenever you have the other one over here at $20,000? Something doesn't make sense. Either somebody's overpriced or somebody's at the low, when in reality they could both be at the fair market value just because of the location of the property. So consider that and be real with yourself whenever you select your next home, if that's your case now. If it's not your case, cool, but just be aware of it and share it with your family and friends so they know about it. The sixth thing impacting your property value are the wide open spaces. Now, this could include things like parks or even vacant land that's around the property. Let's say that you back up to nothing or that you back up to a park. This can actually be a good thing for your property value, but that still depends too. That's because John L. Crompton over at Texas A&M's Park and Recreation Services back in 2007 had actually done a study on this to figure out if homes sell for more money that are near a park, or what are the variables involved that determine the price of a home around a park or an open area. So to help explain this phenomenon, what John did is he came up with what he calls the proximate principle, which is defined as the market values of properties located proximate to a park or open space are frequently higher than comparable properties located elsewhere. In the same study, John also concluded that it depends on the type of park or open space and the frequency of which is used, with the more used a park is, or the more used an open area is, actually causing a decline in the nearby property value. Yet with those parks and open spaces that aren't as frequently used, adding value to the nearby properties. So it's pretty interesting. So whenever you're thinking about buying next to a park, really be clear on why you want to be near a park and what's most important to you to help you make a well-informed decision. And when you have a home to sell that's near a park, please consider the realities of depending on how much traffic is going to that park and how much is actually used, it could negatively impact your property value. The seventh way that your property value gets impacted is either having an HOA versus a non-HOA. So when we're talking about a non-HOA, right? Sometimes people are like, Andrew, I don't want anybody telling me what color I can paint my house, what I can do to my property. Here's the deal. The purpose of an HOA is to actually help preserve your property value by having rules. So when you consider a home that's not in an HOA, it could detract from the property value of the house, because you could have somebody that has that candy cane colored house right down the street from you, or you could have glass in the streets, or you could have that person that has like a used car lot right next door to you. People normally don't like that whenever they're shopping for a home, so it's important to be realistic with your property value and realize that this exact same home in an HOA community might sell for more while yours might not. So think about that when you get ready to sell your home. All right, my friends, so now that you know 7 different things that could detract from your property value, let's talk about 9 ways you can boost your home's value and the top 9 tips for home sellers. It's been a great conversation with you today. Looking forward to our next one. We'll see you in a few.